All right, we've got about 1 minute here. If I could ask you all to go ahead and set yourselves to mute. All right, good evening, everyone. I'm Donalisa Stinyard, and I'm the program coordinator with the Center for Women Entrepreneurs. And we are so excited that you're here this evening. Give us a thumbs up if you're excited to be here. All right. So this evening, we are doing our special after hours workshop on pivoting your business during the COVID-19, a panel discussion. And just real quick before we get started, we're going to have the panelists come on. They're going to come on one at a time. We are doing the Zoom meeting. We're not doing the webinar, so they'll each kind of talk. If you have any questions, we would ask that you would send them privately to Tracy Irby. So you should be able to just, as you go into the chat box, you should be able to find her, and then you can send her the question. She'll be the question keeper for this evening. That way we can try to get to as many as we can. If you have a question for a specific panelist like Chrissy or Kimberly B or Kimberly W, then let Tracy know that in the question so that she'll know who to specifically ask for. So thumbs up on that one. Awesome, awesome, awesome. All right, so again, we are so excited to have you here this evening, and so excited that our panelists were so willing to come on and be a part of this. So I want to just do a really brief introduction of the three of them really quick. Our first one is Chrissy Maloof, and she is a top producing, award-winning, and community-minded realtor dedicated to maximizing your real estate experience. Chrissy has lived in Denton over 32 years and has become an integral part of Denton's fabric. If you do not follow Chrissy on social media, you totally need to do that. She always has a lot of really great content, and she is very social media savvy. So our second panelist is Kimberly Bien, and she is the owner and maker of Salted Sanctuary Soap, which is a natural skincare company that creates handmade soap and skincare products using skin-loving ingredients in Denton, Texas. And Kimberly is passionate about community and her customers that she refers to as soapy friends. So we're all now Kimberly's new soapy friends. And give her a follow on social media as well. She has a lot of really great content, and she has some really fabulous products. And then lastly, we have Kimberly White, and she is a speech language pathologist and certified orofacial myofunctional therapist in Denton, Texas. And Kimberly White, speech and myofunctional therapy, was voted best speech pathologist in Denton County for 2016 and best speech and myofunctional therapist in 2017, 2018, and 2019. So Kimberly White, you're rocking it. You're rocking it. So before we get started with the questions, if you will, in the chat box, let us know where you're viewing us from. That would be awesome. So our first question, and you can continue to put your, where you're calling in from in there while we're going through these discussions. So our first question is, and Chrissy, we're going to let you start us off tonight, okay? How were you doing business before COVID-19, and how have you had to adjust because of today's current business landscape?
All right, can you hear me? I unmuted myself. Okay, so before this craziness, I am a very social person. Those that know me, I'm a hugger, I'm a touch person, I need to see my peeps. So it has been like a big roadblock. Before, I already leveraged technology a lot. So that, for like relocation clients and so forth, we did a lot of tours virtually already. But when this stopped, I mean, it made a major change. So we've had to do a lot of Matterport 3D tours for listings, watch the market daily because we're having changes daily as far as lending rules and so forth. We've had to do virtual tours, a lot of consults done Zoom. So as before, when I would meet face to face, a lot of people are more comfortable now just doing the consults on Zoom. So, and then of course I've had to like leverage having to be a mom with 2 kids still at the house and work. So that change alone it's been huge because I mean, I had my 12-year-old come down today and he's over it. So he is over the online school and he's like, can I just quit? I'm like, oh honey, you can't quit. You can't quit 6th grade. We're going to get through this. So it's been an adjustment, not only having to balance the mom life, the work life, but having to make changes for my clients. When we do show people, we still have to, you know, take our precautions. So it's been buying supplies, making sure that we have wipes with us, our gloves, and answering questions to make the people that we're going in their home know that we're safe and filling out certain forms. So it's definitely been an adjustment for sure.
Awesome, thank you. Kimberly, how about you?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
All right, awesome. For me, like my business has been really live show driven. And for this first, you know, my plan for this year was to do higher end events and wholesale. And with COVID-19, all my events were closed down and wholesale accounts just stopped buying because their businesses were closed as well. And so that left me with no place to sell and a large investment lost or frozen for those big shows. And so for me, I pivoted immediately to online sales where I had a website already, but it was more of a landing page because I'm just more, you know, my history has really been face-to-face and building a website was something I was going to do later. Well, later is here. And so I used Square for my live shows. And so I went to that to start selling there. And also now I sell on Instagram and Facebook. And now I had somewhat knowledge of social media and I used it a lot, but not in a way that was intentional for selling. It was more of sharing. And I still want to keep that about myself. And because I love people, and just like Chrissy, and Kimberly White, I'm going to give you a big hug. If you've met me in person, you have had a hug more than likely, unless you have rules. But it's just kind of, you know, kind of getting out there outside of my comfort zone. It's not like me to talk about, I'm great at talking about products, but just being so open about like the devastation financially to my business because, you know, it was devastating. And then also the fear. But, you know, we all adapt. And, you know, that's kind of the life I'm living right now.
Right. So Kimberly, I do know you and I talked a little bit earlier, and you've really kind of done a lot of like collaborating or partnering, because you used to have a storefront and then you moved away from that. And you've done some other things where you've partnered with some other organizations. Can you share a little bit about that? That's kind of been something that you've used as part of your pivoting?
Yes. So I collaborated with ServPro on some giveaways and just to increase their visibility and mine, and to, you know, give gift cards out for soap because everybody needs soap right now. It is essential. And getting in other networking groups that I might not normally do, and not because I don't believe in them, just because I'm a little awkward and when it comes to just talking about myself. And Chrissy's going to mentor me, I'm sure. You know, really getting outside of my comfort zone. I partnered with Chestnut Tree to become part of their marketplace. A couple like LJ Artisan Jewelry put me in their newsletter. And I have a really long list, and just getting out there and networking, joining all the Zoom meetings. It's just been a great way to collaborate with everyone that I can, that's appropriate. And it's really grown me as a business owner because, you know, I feel a little less awkward.
Right, right. So for everybody that, I just want to make sure everybody knows. So this is Kimberly Bien that we were talking to. She's the Salted Sanctuary soap. She makes the natural soaps. We do have two Kimberly, so we'll try to keep you guys separate. So, okay, thank you.
Sure.
So Kimberly White. So share with us how you were doing business before COVID and how you're doing business now. And I'm sure as a therapist, that's been a huge adjustment. Is she frozen for everybody?
Can y'all see? Can you hear?
We are struggling to hear you.
You are, okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay. All right. Can you still hear me?
It may be, you may need to just turn your video off while you're speaking. This is Kimberly White, and see if that helps.
So stop video. Did that
Yeah.
help?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay. I am a creature of habit. I am not very technology savvy. So this has been a huge learning curve for me. I love to have my patients in front of me. I love to give them hugs. I am office out of my home, and I have for the last 28 years. We do things different here. Anytime anybody comes in, the first thing they do is take their shoes off, they blow their nose, they wash their hands. So all of these restrictions were not really hard for us because we sanitize in between every patient and all that anyway. So we closed our waiting room. That was our first pivot that we had. And then I had to just jump right into doing teletherapy, which was very new for me. I've never done teletherapy before. And I've been pleasantly surprised. My patients have responded beautifully to it. In fact, some patients are doing better on this platform versus being in person. I would say the biggest challenges was those first couple of weeks, me personally just staying positive for my entire staff. I knew that that was my responsibility, was to keep them up, and I needed to be that example for them, even though, like Kimberly was saying, it's been financially devastating. But we all rolled up our sleeves and spent countless hours on the phones with insurance companies trying to get teletherapy covered. And we're 5-6 weeks into this, and every day is new, every day is different, and I'm excited about the progress that our patients are making and what we're able to still do for the families that we serve.
So Kimberly, you brought up something that's really interesting. So, you know, you actually had a staff, and so you were in that leadership position to where you had to kind of keep morale up and stuff. So do you mind sharing just maybe a few things that you did in order to do that?
I have a lot of young therapists that work for me, and I love to mentor young therapists. And just my office staff, you know, they're with me every single day. They know me well. And I just felt like it was my responsibility to stay positive and continue to encourage them, to affirm them, to let them know they're working harder than ever, just to affirm them and let them know that they're doing a good job on a consistent basis, and noticing the little things and lifting them up, because they're going home to their families and they have issues. That one of my staff members, her family member works out the state school, and so with all of the cases out there, she was under a lot of stress and pressure. And so I've just done some things here in the office to make sure that everybody feels loved and supported, and just trying to go above and beyond to be a leader for them. And it's been hard sometimes. I might want to go back in the back of the house and cry, but I have to put on my big girl panties and you know, be a leader, because that's what they're expecting, and that's what I'm called to do. And so it's been good. It's been a growing experience for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I think this is definitely a season that we're all being forced out of our comfort zone, and really kind of held a task on some things that, you know, maybe we hadn't taken care of before, or, you know, maybe didn't do so well before, and now we're really kind of being held, our feet are being held to the fire with that. So
just having to learn technology has been a challenge for me. So it's humbling to have to ask somebody 20 years younger than me to show me how to split a screen for the 90th time. But I have to swallow my pride and learn to do it.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. So Chrissy, we're gonna head back to you. And our next question is, what challenges did you face making, you know, all of changes that you had to face? And not even just the technical or the logistical pieces, but Kimberly White kind of alluded to them, that those emotional things that are kind of going on in the midst of, you know, of the coronavirus, and you're having to make these adjustments.
Yeah, okay, so I've had several, and I have had lots of cries, so I get the whole Kimberly thing because I have had breakdown tears. The first event, the first little one was, we had a client appreciation, this big event planned where I was gonna be at Eureka Park, and this was the week the stay-at-home orders went into place that weekend. And so I had ordered a plant giveaway, over like 300 plants, mass email, mass Facebook marketing, everybody come see me at Eureka Park. And then it was like, nope, you're not going to the park. So we had to quickly reshift. Everyone's like, cancel it, cancel it. I was like, okay, I'm canceling that event, but by golly, I'm going to brighten my people's day still. So we quickly rerouted. I pulled up every address of every buyer I've had since 2014. And we got in the car, and my family and I and a couple employees drove and dropped off flowers on people's porches, just with a quick little note, here's something for you, let's brighten your day. So at that point I was like, I'm still going to be the ray of sunshine for these people, and just something to brighten their day. So that was a shift. I had a big movie theater event planned. Well, there's no way I'm going to go to the movie theater right now, you know, so I'm sorry, that's not happening. So instead I decided, let's do a watermelon giveaway. So I just worked with a chestnut tree once again and did a big bulk order for 100 watermelons, and we're going to do a giveaway just to kind of help and, you know, give to our clients. Second issue would be, we're having lots of delays. I'm sure there's several realtors on here, but we have lending delays. We have people that went from having income to, we were in contract for a house and now they don't have income. So I have 2 that were supposed to close tomorrow. I'm still sitting here. We're going to close, but it's not going to be tomorrow. So real estate's a lot like you're kind of a counselor too, because you're sitting here helping these families try to buy a home, make a big purchase, their next step in their life. And when you have to call them and say, hey, your 2-week paycheck isn't the same as it was when you applied for this loan, it's a tough call. And so when you're trying to be that, I know we're going to get through this, but I mean, I have been yelled at. I have been it's hard. So that side of it has been probably one of the most tough, because you just don't know. And every day the rules are changing and we're kind of in limbo, like what's going on and what's next. Not being at clients closing, for a person like me that loves that human touch, has been another huge difference. The title companies are not allowing us in. So what we do is I'll go to the parking lot and we keep our 6 feet apart, you know, and do our social picture, but I want to hug these people. And so I keep joking. I'm like, I'm going to need therapy when it's all said and done, because I miss that touch. I miss talking to people and seeing them face to face. And I mean, internet's great and I love Zoom. I love social media, but I'm ready just to hang out with my people and you to go see their homes in person after they close. So that has been another huge weight on me. It's just not being able to be there for the full process physically, actually with them. So it's kind of difficult.
Yeah, I would imagine, because as a realtor, it's a real personal experience, right? Taking people to their home or to a potential home and really getting to know them and know what they're looking for. And just, you know, you kind of become a quasi member of the family. So to not be able to be there with them through that process. Not only is
business. So it's
right.
I'm like, you get to know that family member. You don't know them by the start. You know everything about them by the end of that. You're part of their family and you're part of yours. So it's been tough having to make those calls and be the bearer of bad news and still try to be that ray of sunshine and just keep these people positive and just know that we're all going through this together. That no matter what, we're going to look back and they're going to look back and see like, hey, we were wearing masks in our closing picture. Like we were part of that story. So just got to keep positive.
Yeah, I think that's always a little helpful to know that, you know, it's that we're all in this together. So it's not you're just not in it by yourself. And so there's some comfort in that. So thank you. So Kimberly Bean, we're gonna send it your way. So what challenges did you face making those changes? And I know you alluded to some of it when you were talking about you use social media as a platform, more of just not really selling, just showing. So
yes, I mean, the social media piece, to be intentional and using it as a selling tool while balancing it with being genuine has been a big challenge for me. And sometimes it's been incredibly hard to be creative right now. Some days I just want to cry, and and we all do, and some days I do, especially if I've had to go to I've cried twice in public. They've both been in the grocery store where I was masked and gloved, but I just, like the overwhelmingness of recording is crazy. And plus I knew people were really upset because all the pasta was gone. But like just that transition into using that in a tool in a different way during a time where I'm challenged to be creative. And also like getting, a big challenge for me is to be so candid about what's going on. And I've done it, and I've made those heartfelt posts, but that is incredibly painful for me because like I can just tell you how great my friends are and their products and their services. And then, sometimes I'm a little bit standoffish about myself and those things. And so it's been challenging and it's growing me. But I really do miss the people, selling bath and body products to people. It's personal, it's intimate. They, have questions or personal needs that they might not mention on, the internet. Mm-hmm. And so things like that. And, I've just, I'm not from Denton. I've only lived here a little over a decade. And I made I built my community selling my soap. And so, when I say soapy friends, I really mean that because it's grown into not only just customers, but, that's or that's how I found my church or whatever the case may be. And so the social media thing, the lack of human contact, my poor husband, he's an introvert. I talk all the time. So things like that, that I'm sure that a lot of the extroverts are challenged with at home, and probably the introverts too.
Yeah, I love though that you're, there's these obstacles that are there and you're very aware of them, but yet, while you may step lightly, you're still taking those steps and you're still doing those things to continue to bring your business and the gift that you have in creating these items to your customers. And I mean, how great is it that you're still here and you're doing that and you're bringing these beautiful things to people at a time when self-care is even more important, I think, because our lines get so fuzzy at home. You work from home, your kids, you know what I mean? We're just constantly turned on. And so having some of your products and being able to fulfill that must be very rewarding for you.
It is, and just processing that is a connection. Like, I'm not going to be their house, but I know that this is going to them, and I take great pride and care in making my products. And I'm hoping that, it has a positive impact in their lives. And just, the act of taking that out to the postal worker who I leave lots of stuff for. My postal person name is Amanda, and I take great care of her. That is a small feeling of connection. And I just really, not only for the financial stability of that process, but just the connection of seeing their name and their address and sending that energy forward to them. It means a lot.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Thank you. So Kimberly White.
Yes. Can you hear me?
We can.
Yay.
Talk to us about some of the challenges you've been faced, that you've had to face making all of the changes.
The biggest challenge was getting insurance to cover therapy, because people are under the impression that it was covered and it wasn't. And I have speech therapy assistants that work for me, and they could not see the patients for the first 3 weeks. So I was seeing everyone, and it was exhausting. And to work with the 2-year-old by teletherapy and try to find new creative ways to keep them engaged while they're on mom's lap or running through the house holding the iPad showing me the dog's dookie on the floor. You know, just finding new creative ways to do therapy has been a challenge. And I also work with a lot of adults with developmental disabilities. And so it's really hard for them, because these parents have not been able to see their grown adult children for almost 7 or 8 weeks now. And so trying to, quote unquote, minister to those families who haven't seen their child in 7 or 8 weeks, and trying to reach out to them and just be a light for them has been a challenge, and slowly getting that covered. And it's been wonderful to get to reconnect with them again, because we're a familiar face and they haven't got to see mom or dad, or they're stuck in their group home. And so a lot of them still don't even have the technology to receive those services. So daily we're reaching out, trying to figure out how we can take care of them. So every day there's a success, but every day there's a mountain to climb. And so we just wake up the next day and figure out who are we going to help today that we couldn't see yesterday. And every single day it works. It's just a challenge.
Yeah, and I can only imagine, and I know you shared a little bit under the last question about kind of as the leader, and you know, you're kind of having to keep keep the smile on your face and keep the positivity, not only for your clients but also for your staff. And so, you know, what are some of the challenges like emotionally that you're dealing with, and how are you handling those for yourself?
You know, that's a good question. I can juggle a lot of balls and juggle them well. So honestly, this slow time is driving me crazy, because I kind of thrive off of being busy and juggling a lot of balls and taking care of everybody and making sure everybody's happy. I say that to my office manager every day. It's everybody happy. What can I do? You know, because if I know they're happy, if I don't know there's a problem, then I can't fix it. And so this slower time is actually driving me insane, because that's really hard for me. But I'm learning to slow down and really take that time to look into my therapist's eyes and just say, how are you? What can I help you with? What's your biggest challenge today? And taking time to find positive, real affirmative things to say to lift them up. And so I feel like our working relationship has always been good, but I feel like it's better because I'm learning to be a better listener and a better communicator, because I'm not juggling so many balls and going so quickly.
Yeah. I was, listened to a video the other day. Matthew McConaughey was, I guess he did a little video on Twitter to the students at the University of Texas. And he was explaining to them kind of about how, you know, the season that we're in, and they've really had, these young students are really having to step up and be more adult-like. But something that he said that just really caught my attention, and he says, you know, we've had a forced winter put upon us, and we've really had to take a step back and slow down. And so I appreciate you speaking to that, in the sense that, you know, you're a goer, and I see Chrissy, she was shaking her head up and down as you were saying that, you know, she's used to moving and shaking, and now it's, you know, she's really had to take a step back. So Chrissy, would you share a little bit about how you've had to do that?
Yes. Okay. That's funny. I think I did a post about that yesterday on Facebook, just because we talked about that when I met with Kimberly at Sonic. We're just busy people, and I'm one of those. Yes, like you call me. Oh, you want to serve it on board? Yes. Oh, do you want to volunteer? Yes. Do you want? And I've just go, and that's just what my life has always been. And so being forced to slow down it's been shocked. I mean, but then again, we talked this weekend, and I have found some positives out of it. I mean, my kids are 12 and 15, so well, one's turning 15 this month, but this is a good family time. We've been able to actually sit. I found myself, believe it or not, actually doing more dance videos, because before I would say yes and I'd jump in the car and help everybody. Now it's like I'm at home and I can bounce a little bit of workout, and I can go outside and hula hoop and enjoy some sunshine for 20 minutes and not feel so guilty. But it has been weird for me to be like forced and like slow it down, Chrissy. So I get what she's saying, because I thrive off chaos, I guess. My husband probably is like, oh gosh, what next? That's kind of how I've always been. So I can relate.
Kimberly Bean, how about you?
It's definitely been a challenge, just being here in the house. I have had things to do besides my business, because I'm taking 9 hours at TWU in the studio art program. But normally I'm in a class painting and drawing. And so to bring that in the house where I haven't had the energy or the right energy for it has been a struggle. I did create a metal sculpture that I submitted yesterday about COVID, where I could put that dark anxiety. And so I've been really grateful for that outlet. But you know, just like your maker and business community, I miss that artist community so much. And so just getting used to that. Being in the house, I've started going for long walks, and I grow roses and a lot of, you know, I'm a gardener. So I've had time to attend for that. And quite frankly, my garden's been my church. It's the place to go to when we've had sun. In the beginning of this, remember, we had a lot of rain. Oh, yeah. And that was heavy and that was hard. But I've also been grateful for the opportunity to be with my garden and have the time to smell the roses and literally do it.
Awesome, thank you. So our next question, with all the uncertainty, I like this one. So with all the uncertainty that we're facing moving forward, how are you planning for the future of your business? And Chrissy, if we can get you to go first.
Okay, well, gosh, there's so many ways I can go with this. I'm guessing the first one, I've never been a big spender as far as like business spending. I worked in banking before, so I remember being the banker that the realtors would come in and borrow the money if they blew it all. So I've always put a big chunk aside in savings for taxes, for emergency purposes. So as far as that, I feel good, but I'm also one of those people that I'm very goal driven and I compete with myself. So I know that I cannot go back and look at my past numbers. I can't look and see, hey, there's where I was in sales in 2018, 2019, because it's a different time. And so for me right now, my biggest thing is just touching base with my clients, touching base with my community, and just being that person to be there, to be the hope, to be there to help people, and just know that in the long run, when changes do happen, that people are still going to buy. They're going to move. They're going to, you know, they've still got to relocate. But I just can't compare myself to where I used to be. And I think that's my biggest struggle, is because I look back and I was like, well, last May I had 12 closings. Well, I'm not counting on that this May. So I'm just going to remain positive, take care of my people, take care of the community. And I've also leveraged more social media. I've always been big on Instagram, big on Facebook, but I forced myself to do a TikTok dance with my daughter. So that's been fun. But you know, I'm recording my YouTubes, trying to get a little bit more organized. As before, like I said, I thrived off chaos and I would try to fit in a video here or there. Well, now I'm able to actually stop and schedule. And so I think when I do get busy, I'm going to have it mapped out and I'll be able to still do the marketing I wanted to do, but not be so stressed.
Yeah, that's great. I know I've shared, we do a Tuesday tip on the Center for Women Entrepreneurs on our Facebook. You can follow us at TWUCWE. And I know the first couple weeks that we were kind of at the shelter at home, those were some of the things that I talked about, was really kind of nailing down those processes and all of those things that I'm sure as everybody on here as entrepreneurs know that, I mean, when you jump in, you're jumping in and you're selling your services and your products and all of that kind of stuff. And all of those pieces and parts of email marketing and social media content, all of those things get kind of pushed off to the side. And so this has been a really great opportunity as you slow down, as you spoke to Chrissy about, you know, getting those YouTube videos to go and, you know, getting some of those processes fine-tuned so that everybody, so that when you come out of this, you're setting yourself up for success.
Exactly.
Yeah. Kimberly B., what about you?
I will continue with my online sales and kind of grow the technology that goes with that, with newsletters and eventually I will, and hopefully do a subscription. I have made one little YouTube video, and hopefully I'll do a few more tutorials and have that as part of my regular business strategy. And just go in and, you know, like since I started this website, I haven't had any professional pictures made. I love to take pictures, but, you know, I need to gloss it up just a little bit and have things be more consistent. And that's something that I'll do going forward, and just kind of go in and polish everything. But I definitely plan on keeping technology and online sales as part of my business strategy, and eventually ease back into live shows as it feels appropriate.
Right. And I think that's, you know, it's interesting that you bring that up, is where, you know, they're getting ready to, on Friday, you know, start to kind of lessen the restrictions a little bit, and kind of as we move forward. And so really keeping in mind that, you know, we've got one foot in COVID and one foot not in COVID, right? And how we're doing business. And just because you're open, so to speak, doesn't mean that everybody's going to rush in and start taking advantage of that. It's going to be their comfort level on whether they want to visit retail stores, or, you know, like with Kimberly W., coming into your facility. So Kimberly White, how are you planning for your future business?
One thing I'm actually very excited about, I think we're going to keep the closed waiting room for a while. I think that will make my therapist, my office staff feel more at ease, and just help this be a less chaotic place, because sometimes in the entryway it gets a little chaotic. So I'm personally very excited about that. I'm going to continue to advocate with insurance companies, because they're saying they're not going to continue to cover their teletherapy once this is over. So that's going to be a battle that we're going to have. But I'm collecting my data as we're going through this, and I'm going to be able to show that it's been good for the patients, that they've made good progress, and hopefully fight with insurance companies, which is what I do every day, and try to get them to continue to cover the service. And then also during this quiet time, I've never had a website. And I know that's been on the back burner, but that never got done. So I'm going to try to use a little bit of this slower time that I have to finally develop that. And I love educating families and educating parents. And I'll throw some things up there on Facebook, but I'm excited to do more educating in the future. And I feel like that's key. If you can educate parents and families and doctors, then you've given them everything. And so we're using this time now so that we can pivot when everything's open again, and do a better job of educating families. And hopefully that website will be there to provide information that they need.
So Kimberly, I have a question for you. So as we begin to move away to where at some point people will be able to still will be able to come in and see you, will you still offer the virtual conferencing as an option for some of your patients?
I would love to, because some are doing much better by virtual versus coming in, and it saves families so much time. I mean, it takes a ton of time to drive across Denton, Texas. Let's face it. And so if they have to drive 20 minutes here, 20 minutes home, and then wait for their child while they're here for 30 minutes, if that can ease a parent's or a family's burden, then that's my job to do. And so I'm hoping to do that. It just depends what insurance cover it or not. So
I love that you are open to that possibility. That's great. So we're just almost at the 20-minute mark, and I think we've got quite a few questions coming in. So I'm going to hand over the mic to Tracy to ask a few questions. And if we end up having some more time for a question, then we can fill in our last question. So Tracy.
Hello. Okay, one of the first questions I have, and Kimberly W., this may be for you starting out, but it should apply to all of you. What kind of things did you do to help your staff feel loved? You're muted. There you go.
Okay, there. Always make sure I have sweet treats for them. You know, they fill out a list of my favorite thing. And so, you know, if I know that their favorite snack is plantains or chocolate cake or peach tea, it's just there. You know, or maybe it might sound silly, but maybe a bath bomb or a thing of Epsom salt with a corny note that says, hey, go home and take a bubble bath tonight. You know, I just try to figure out what their love language is, and I don't make a big deal about it. I just want to leave it there and let them know that they're loved and appreciated.
That's great.
That's simple.
That's great. Chrissy or other Kimberly, do you have any insight or anything on this, or with people around you?
I just keep vocally telling them. I mean, I'm sending text, you know, emails. Every time I talk to them, I make sure it's I appreciate you. Thank you so much. I couldn't do this without you. You're the best. So just as much sweet little messages I can give them, it's a constant. Just a reminder, because sometimes we don't get to hear that enough.
Right. Kimberly, do you have anything to add?
For me, I'm most of the time just a one-man band, except for I do have some seasonal employees, and it's just keeping that positive connection with them, you know, putting like I call a soapy bomb, which is like a little care bag on their porch, and just staying connected, you know, keeping the communication lines going.
That's so important for everybody. Thank you so much. Here's another one from Facebook, Victoria Frank. Miss Kimberly White gave an insight on how to make a change when crisis like this strikes. But for someone like a massage therapist can be very challenging. Going back to school for a change in career can be tough. What advice can you give to someone in this situation?
I would say embrace it. You know, look, hold on, let's take this off. There. I would say embrace the change. As much as I don't like change, like I said, I'm a creature of habit. You know, embrace it and find that silver lining in it, look forward to it, and just go for it. And the last 5 years, I started specializing in myofunctional therapy. It was like a B12 shot for me. I'm just so excited again. I mean, I eat, sleep, and breathe what I do. And so sometimes, I mean, you just got to find the silver lining, and maybe you're going to find your new passion. Don't be afraid to do hard things, because once you do hard things, it's awesome.
Right. Anyone else have some insight for them how a massage therapist might be able to change their business right now or do something different?
Oh goodness, I feel for them right now, and I will tell you, I would do anything for a massage right now. The tension that I have on my shoulders, if they will be busy. I have seen if they can connect with like social media influencers to do just chats. I had one probably about a month ago where I interviewed a masseuse, and I was just asked her, give us tips, like how do we deal with anxiety, like, and she gave us good tips on how to, you know, stretch now, different exercises to do that you can do at home to help. So at least try to reach a new audience right now. Like sometimes change is good, and this might open a new chapter and a whole new set of clients for you.
Yeah, I hope that you're able to promote gift card sales too, so that, you know, you can have a stream of income, and then when those customers are able to come to you, they'll be ready.
Great. Those are all great things for them to do. We've had several people in different businesses pre-selling their services or whatever they can do right now as well. So, okay, does anybody else have more questions?
I do. If you could give one piece of advice to our participants tonight, what would you tell them? And Chrissy, we'll start with you.
All right, I'm going to go back to it again. Just stay positive. Tomorrow's a new day. All of us are going through changes together, and sometimes change is good. So if you keep that happiness and you don't dwell on the negative, nothing but good is going to come to you in the future. So stay happy, friends.
Kimberly Bien?
I agree with the staying positive. Absolutely. I think you have to allow yourself some grace to go through what you're doing, you know, what experience the I think that you have to give yourself some space to feel uncomfortable, but keep on going. Absolutely keep on going.
And Kimberly White.
I love what Kimberly said, to show yourself some grace. I think oftentimes as small business owners or as women, we don't show ourselves some grace, and we beat ourselves up and we expect ourselves to be great at everything all the time. I know personally, I'm just going to try to embrace this slow time and not waste it. I just want to soak up this time, this extra time with my family, and just embrace it and just be ready to hit the ground running when they open the gates and we can go again.
That's awesome. Tracy, did we have another question come in?
Yes. Did you all use a professional agency to develop your website? So who would like to start with that? Let's see. Kimberly, you're still unmuted. White.
Okay, I don't have a website, so that's on my to-do list this week.
Oh, okay,
so.
yeah. So are you going to use a professional website?
Yes, for sure. Yes.
Okay. Kimberly B.
Yes, I use Square website because it interacts with my point of sale when I'm doing shows, and it is a work in progress. I'll continue to do that. And at some point, I have a mentor that's kind of helping me and giving me honest feedback that I so appreciate it. And so I will continue doing that. And hopefully it'll be a little more refined.
Thank you.
All
Chrissy.
right. So yeah, I have the generic Keller Williams template. Not so exciting. I love Keller Williams, but all those real estate websites are just kind of basic to me. So I'm actually in the process, kind of like Kimberly, where I have Randy Skinner, who is a professional with RS Consulting, is helping me kind of create, and we've kind of put it on the back burner because we're focusing on a podcast and other stuff right now, but we are going to change my website. So I will hire a professional to get something a little bit more creative, and I'm not the norm. I like to be outside the box. So yes, I've got someone working on that as well.
Great, we look forward to seeing that.
Hey, Tracy, can I chime in on that for a second?
Sure can.
I think when you're just starting out, using something like Lisa Merrick just put in the comment section, like Wix.com, WordPress, Square, there's a couple of others out there that they offer like free templates. So if you're just starting out, that's something that's really beneficial to use until you get things started and start generating some income. And I'm sure you would probably agree with me, Tracy, that if you're just starting out, to run out and find somebody to professionally do your website and pay $3,000 or $5,000 for right off the bat, especially as you're just kind of finding your way in your business. If you do something that's a little free or a little less pricey, then you have the opportunity to grow, and it gives you a chance to make adjustments to that and not feel so bad about spending huge amounts of money before you have it, pretty much.
That's right. And just whoever you're using, make sure you own your domain name and not the people that do your site or anything else.
Yeah. And any more questions?
I don't have any. I don't see any more out here.
Well, awesome. Panelists, thank you so much. Chrissy, Kimberly, and Kimberly too. We just appreciate you guys so much for taking your time out tonight and for sharing your how you pivoted your business during the COVID-19. And I think somebody said it earlier. I mean, we're all in this together. We're all going to be able to look back on 2020. I don't know about you guys, but when I turned the page on the calendar, I had no idea that this is what the year held. But you know what? Again, it's a forced winter, and it's a season for all of us to grow. And what a great opportunity that we all get to grow together, especially as women entrepreneurs. And I know I speak for myself and all of our team at the Center for Women Entrepreneurs. We are just so grateful that we're able to be a resource and to be here for you guys as you start and you grow and you build your businesses. And so just thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
All right, and as we close out, We did record this, so we will send the recording to everybody that's registered. And if we don't have anything else, we would like you to save the date. May 12th is our next Women Rise. We're doing an email marketing, and the email goes out this week, but it's already up on Eventbrite. There's also a Facebook event. You can get signed up, and we hope to see everybody there. Have a good night, everybody.
Bye.